Welcome back to Marvel Puzzle Quest with me, P.I. McLeod. And, hey, look how close we are to day 3,650. Pretty darn close. We're really close to the 10-year mark. It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? You might be thinking to yourself, do you ever miss a day? And I'd be saying, no, I really don't. Even on vacations. It's easy to get free Wi-Fi in plenty of places, even if you're not in the country. And it's easy to hit this right before you go to bed, you know? But whatever. That's me. What are we doing today? Rating 5 stars. The 5 stars in 2019, that is. And we're going to do a Crash the Titans before the night's out because it's, obligatory procrastination Sundays. Right? I said right? No, I'm joking. Yeah, we're going to do this. 2019, here they are, a lovely set of people. I don't know, there's like a few people in here that like pique my interest, and then some that just totally fall flat, and some that have had a convoluted history. But let's dive into the 5 stars. I'm just going to go into this person, it doesn't even matter. I'm not going to fight him or nothing, that's not the point. We're doing 5-star ratings today. So, unlike most of the days, I get to start right at the beginning here at Beta Ray Bill because he is, the earliest one. It's, wow, out of all 9 of the guys, 5 stars here in 2019, it's actually alphabetical order for reals with Beta Ray starting us off. Excuse me. I'm not sure what I ate today, but this is not expected. Beta Ray Bill came into Marvel Puzzle Quest, and much like Kitty did in the previous year, he definitely shook the meta. And if anything, he added on to the Kitty meta in a way that was unprecedented. He brought about the Protect meta. It wasn't Polaris by herself that did this eventually. No, Beta Ray really did a lot for Protectile game, and it became not a quick way to win, but like a large stall tactic, mainly for PvP. And it was totally viable, and still is, for PvE if you want to complete some nasty challenge modes, because he presents very easy ways to make AP and stay safe while doing so. Beta Ray Bill is still considered a really good character, top tier character to this day. He's not Chasm, he's not gonna stall you to death that way. No, he's more of a traditional staller with lots of protection and AP generation. You might think he's a support character just from those words alone, but really he can hurt you a ton too. He might be what you call a total package. Let's start off with the main reason everyone likes him. Defender of 2 peoples. And you might think to yourself, well, Pi, why do you have it only at level 3? Well, let me show you. At level 3 by itself, at the start of the battle, it gets 4 big old projectiles. That's good enough right there, right? You just start the battle with projectiles. Remember how Rocket in 4-star land starts with strike tiles and a good amount of them? Well, this guy here just makes 4 big old projectiles. Same thing as Rocket, just big beefy protects instead. And then, on top of it, whenever a friendly Protect is matched or destroyed, not removed, that's a special thing, but whenever Protects are matched or destroyed, the friendly ones that is, you generate a blue and a green AP. Now let's put up the 5 and I'll show you why I don't have it up as high as that. The projectile strength just goes up. That's all it does. You might think that might be good enough to warrant being at level 5, but it's not. Because really, at the end of the day, 4 of these tiles gives me over 2,000 protection. 4 of these tiles gives me about 3,000 protection, approximately. And that's cool. It's great and all that. But 2,000 is good enough. If people are hitting you for more than 2,000, they're going to be hitting you for a lot more than 2,000 more often than not. And we're not here for that. The protection is nice, but it's about that 1 blue and green generation. That's really what this character is about. Let's add on to it, shall we? Clash of the Worthy. For 6 blue, you deal like a pretty good amount of damage. For 6 blue, for such a cheap cost, remember this is boosted, but just do yourself a favor and reduce that down to a little less than half. Okay? That's still a lot of damage for 6 blue. But then you get a 4-turn countdown tile, which is fortified. And while it's out there, you get to create a protect tile whenever he or one of his allies takes damage. That means matches, cascades, powers, attack tiles, whenever damage comes in. And since damage can never be reduced really below 1, everything that comes in, even with all your protection tiles out there, is going to trigger this. You're going to get more and more protect tiles, which, when destroyed or matched, give you 1 blue and 1 green. Pretty handy. On top of this, you have, and this is his worst power, but at the same time, it's not bad, Scuttlebutt, which is the name of his ship. I'm not a comic buff when it comes to Beta Ray Bill, but it is a funny name. Anyways, 12 green gets you 4 hits of 21k damage. Of course, this is boosted, but it is 4 hits across the entire opposing team of a decent number. The greatest thing about this is that instead of it being team damage, if you only have 1 enemy left, that 1 enemy is getting all 4 hits. You know, or if it's 2 enemies left, someone's going to get 4 hits, or 3 hits and 1 to the other, or 2 hits each. You get the point. It's a really fairly spread, and it's a solid power. Beta Ray Bill is a complete package. You have defense, you have AP generation, you have damage output. He's a good support character for other people that might want to use the blue and green instead of himself. There's a lot going on here. Remember 5-star Kingpin that we talked about earlier, like, you know, a year or 2 back? Remember how he starts out with protect tiles if there's friendly heroes on his team? Guess what? Beta Ray Bill's a hero. So Beta Ray Bill's bringing 4 protect tiles to the team, and the Kingpin's going to bring another one on in. And Kingpin just happens to like blue and green tiles. I don't need to say much more. There's so many other combos you could do with obvious characters like Polaris. And just I don't know. It's easy to figure out. Beta Ray Bill is easily high tier. Probably the highest tier of the characters in this selection. Easily. I can't find one that would compete as well. Moving on from there, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is one of the few characters that I would say started out low tier and actually got worse as she got nerfed. I don't know, let me explain. It's kind of weird. So when she came out, she had this really weird, well, she still has a weird power set, but she had this really interesting mechanic on Event Horizon that there was a way to destroy friendly strike tiles using certain mechanics. I mean, not protect tiles, but strike tiles. Yeah, friendly strike tiles. I said it right. And you would be able to generate yellow. Well, they changed that. Event Horizon at level 5. And if you notice here, it costs 0. It just gets on out there, right? And it creates 3 green AP. 3 green AP. I can't talk. 3 green AP every 3 turns when it counts down. It's free green, but it takes time to build. And this repeater tile can just get matched or destroyed like any other repeater tile, so it's not a great ability, right? But when you get 10 or more green, it becomes Photonic Rush. For 10 green, she destroys a random row, excluding the friendly special tiles. That's the part they changed. It used to not exclude friendly specials. You could destroy them. And look at that passive down below when she is... Oh, not that passive. I'm sorry. I think it's part of her yellow. We'll get there. But just remember that this used to destroy friendly special tiles, okay? Keep that in your mind with me while we go through this. You do some damage, and for each friendly special tile in the row, you destroy 1 additional row, excluding friendly special tiles. Again, that is new for this ability. Destroyed tiles deal damage, but do not generate AP. I mean, it's a great way to, like, really just keep destroying rows and doing damage, and it can be good in that regard. You have to have a lot of friendly tiles out there to have this proc multiple times, but it's possible, and it can do a lot of damage because of that. But it's you know, hit or miss. Got your 6? Nope, it's the red I'm looking for. Anyways, Got your 6 is kind of interesting because you can totally save the day with this ability. You could basically knock a friendly person out of the way of a hit and actually put them back in the fight. For 8 yellow, I'll put up to level 5 here. A chosen ally goes airborne for 2 turns, and when they land, they get healed a bunch and they deal damage to a target. So it's like you're knocking them onto the opponent. Not 100% sure how that works, but point is, you're taking a friend, removing them from danger for a little bit, and then on top of it, they get healed and the opponent takes a big hit. It's pretty cool, especially when used with people that have airborne effects like Throg or Black Knight. You know, people that actually thrive in the airborne system. I could have used Vulture in that example, but there's other people that do this too. You know. Finally, there's Mean Right Hook. For 8 red, she puts out a 2-turn repeater. Again, not fortified. That deals pretty decent damage, honestly, for 8 red. And creates 3 red strength strike tiles. Three decent strike tiles, okay? Here's the part I wanted to get to earlier. When a friendly strike tile is destroyed by any means other than a match, you gain 2 yellow AP. So, in other words, it can't be, like, destroyed by... Like, they have to be destroyed by, like, a match 4, a match 5. An ability that says destroy strike tiles. Something like that, okay? Then you'll get 2 yellow AP, which allows you to use her yellow again or someone else's yellow. Well, this used to destroy friendly tiles on Photonic Rush. And when it destroyed friendly tiles, you were producing a lot of yellow AP. But the problem is... it wasn't guaranteed. You weren't guaranteed this with her green, and then you had to have the yellow friendly strike tiles out there to do this with, which obviously meant Rocket was an easy shoe-in, right? But you couldn't guarantee that you'd hit them with this green, or you'd hit them with certain other characters. And then they removed this ability by saying by on this green. Hey Mark, how's it going, buddy? On this green, they removed it by saying excludes friendly special tiles, completely nerfing it. She used to be part of the infinite combo that Beta Ray Bill, Polaris, and Captain Marvel were an excellent team for. But then they nerfed this because obviously, I don't know. Actually, I don't have an answer for it. They nerfed it big time into the ground, and everyone flocked to other avenues of using green AP to destroy friendly tiles, like 4-star Thanos, like 1-star Juggernaut. You get the point. Using green AP users to destroy projectiles was a quick and easy thing to do. Event Horizon was great at it, but now it doesn't do that. So she's nerfed into the ground heavily. She's not usable really by many means anymore. It's kind of sad. She was my first champed 5-star. And not because I liked her, but that's just how the cards fell. Hey, John, how's it going, bud? 5-star Captain Marvel, Negative Man, and Polaris. Interesting, Mark. I see where you're going with this. Okay, so Negative Man, his yellow destroys tiles. He has to get like 6 or more. No, is it 6 or 7? Whatever it is, yellow. And then you'll destroy a bunch of friendly tiles as long as there's 6 or more friendlies on the board. Polaris is going to multiply those destroyed tiles and recreate them out there. Captain Marvel would then give you the yellow to do it again. Interesting, Mark. I like this. Where'd you pick that up from, buddy? Or did you just come out of the clear blue sky? Did you just pull that out somewhere? That's really cool, Mark. I could see that. No, John, I mean, I think that's an infinite. I think that's an infinite combo. If what Mark is saying is correct, you just need the 6+ yellow for Negative Man's yellow to be triggered. And hence, Polaris would, when those tiles are destroyed, Polaris would recreate and multiply them. And then Captain Marvel's going to give you yellow AP, because whenever a friendly strike tile is destroyed by any means other than a match, gain 2 yellow. And then you could redo it again with Negative Man. I did not know this. That's really good, Mark. Dude. Okay, I'm going to put that through. I'm going to put that... gonna have to put that through the test. Like, I'm really curious now. Is there a PvP right here? I'm truly curious now. Where is it at? I can't do it in this one. Let's do it in Shield. I just want to see if I can get it to work. I need a non-chasm team, obviously. Come on, a non-chasm team. Ugh, Omega Red. I don't know if I want to go through that right now. Oh, well, yeah, here's one. This could work. Oh, this will be even easier. This team right here is relying on luck to win. So let's go. Let's try this out. I have to know now. I have to know. Let's go grab 4-star blue, green, purple. So that's Polaris. And then 4-star blue, yellow, black, right? Yep, there he is. I don't even have him champed yet, but he's at 444. I gotta do this, Mark. You totally put this in my head now. We'll do 2 of the alls, and then another 2 red and yellow. Anything else we need here? Let's give him 2 blue as well, because if we can get Polaris's stun out there really quick, that would be nice for extra strikes. Okay, let's go. I gotta try this. I have to. That's a really neat idea. John, big props for the big brain idea here. I like this idea so far. I need strike tiles to be generated, so that means we need the blue. But I need yellow as well, so I guess I'll take the blue first. Sorry, Polaris, you're going to take this hit in the face. Okay. It's worth it. But now we can start her rolling. Who do we stun? I think we're going to stun Chuck, because any of these might... shoot, Chuck or Black Bolt? Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. I don't see easy yellow matches out there yet, but if we're destroying strikes... Stun Professor X. I can't deal with that match 4 crap right now. I don't want to watch for those. Can we take the purple? I think I take the purple to make more friendlies, right? Oh, good. There's a yellow match. Beautiful. We can start this up. Engine's going to roll in 3, 2, 1. I finally won. I love you guys' banner. Yes, I finally won. That's great. Well, let's see. Here's the test to see if this works. Okay, so this should theoretically, if there's 6 or fewer, strike attack, blah, 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 it creates more, right? Don't care. If there are more than 6, destroy, strike, attack, protect tiles. And this is all, even the enemy ones. Dealing damage equal to 165% of their total strength and change to Mr. Negative. Destroyed tiles do not deal damage or generate AP. If used while Mr. Negative, you deal 35% more damage. Obviously, this is destroying tiles, so we should get a ton of yellow because of Mean Right Hook. Okay, here we go. We went from 7 yellow to 22 yellow, and there's a ton of strikes on the board. Oh me, oh my. Oh, wow. Anyone want to clip this? Holy mother of pearl. Anyone want to clip this? Jesus. Mark, this is you? You came up with this. This isn't something pulled somewhere else, like on Discord or Reddit or something? This is amazing, man. That's... wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and clip this once this is done. Congrats, man. I don't know how to... No Discord or Reddit. Man. I'm gonna pin this to the chat. I'm pinning that message. Captain Marvel, Negative Man, and Polaris. Look at you. That way, if someone comes into this stream, they're gonna see that first. That's amazing. That's a good one, man. Wow. Okay. That derailed us, but for a really good reason. That's gonna be super fun. Come on. If you got a 5-star Captain Marvel, it is now awesome. Only because of Negative Man and Polaris, though. We have to put the caveat in there. This doesn't bump her up. She's no longer... She's not like, oh, now she's mid-tier. She's still low-tier. She can't do anything without Negative Man and Polaris to do this, right? Right. But man, we finally found the day when Captain Marvel is good again for something. God, I'm flabbergasted. Okay, back in here. Okay, 5-star talk. Resume. Okay, I'm... Okay, at the end of the day, Captain Marvel is a low tier, but we just found here live on stream an amazing use for her, thanks to Negative Man and Polaris. Of course Polaris is involved. When is she not involved? But still. Whew. Okay, move on over to Carnage. Carnage, the Prophet of Null. 5-star Carnage came into this game doing something that Banner couldn't. And I say Banner because Bruce Banner was known as one of the few characters in the game that give us extra turns just because of a certain stipulation being met, right? But Bruce Banner, at the time, didn't generate AP with his extra matches. He just kind of did the match, did the damage, but you didn't get the AP. It was kind of lackluster. Well, Carnage said, haha, yeah, no, I don't play that game. He does the extra match, gets the extra AP and the damage, and of course, then you get to take your full turn afterwards. Carnage became a nuisance when he got introduced in the game because people, if you weren't ready for it, if you were relying on special tiles, which people do a lot of the times, Carnage made you think twice because now you get double turns for it. What was it? Gotta delete a team for a slot 7 to 12. Nice, John. I think I have one more slot left now. Nice job, Mark. It's still great. Carnage over here has 3 interesting abilities. I'd say his lacklusterous one is Blood Feud. It's cheap. It's only 6 red, but you deal a pretty decent amount of damage to the enemy. Steal a burst of health from their allies, meaning the other 2 people behind the enemy, right? And then if your team has 4 or more special tiles, you also deal additional damage to the enemy team. So when let me reiterate, you steal a burst of health from your allies. That means not the enemy's allies, it's your allies and back. So if Carnage is allies with, I don't know, Venom and Spider-Man for some weird reason, right? You're actually stealing their health. It's kind of a negative, but at the same time, Carnage being a 5-star, sometimes he tanks. So you are keeping him healthy by doing this. It's usually one of the reasons why people wouldn't like using Carnage, but at the same time, if you have other ways to heal your team, it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. But that's easily his worst ability. The best ability? Null and Void. This is the reason why anyone would use Carnage. And obviously, again, I put it at 3 because I don't need any more than that. If I put it at 3, here you go. If there's 4 or more enemy special tiles at the start of the turn, make a match and create 1 strength 930 friendly strike tile. He makes a free match and an extra friendly strike tile just because there's 4 or more enemy specials out there. Enemy special tiles, that doesn't mean just strikes, protects, attacks. This is invisibilities, countdowns, repeaters. You know, like Gore comes out with 3 repeaters. Shoot, he's 1 away from offending Carnage to the point of a free turn. Otherwise, if they don't have 4 more out there, he does create 2 enemy attack tiles. So it's only going to take, like, a blank board means 2 regular turns before Null and Void kicks in. At level 3, it's the same thing. It's just the enemy strike tiles are not as bad. And then, of course, the strike tile you create is stronger. So, you know, it's really just number differences. Anywho, Green's not bad. It just is not as much bang for your buck as you want. It's 9 green. You destroy 7 random tiles. Destroy tiles don't give you AP. But when you match or destroy a strike, attack, and protect tile, you create a pretty decent strike attack tile. In other words, this is an easy way to take enemy tiles and convert them to your own attack tile business. This is really fun when combined with Polaris because you just create so many friendly tiles super fast. But again, you're spending 9 green to get 7 destroyed. It isn't exactly the best math in the world, but hey, it does help you destroy the enemy a little bit faster because of the passive. At the end of the day, I'd say he's a decent mid-tier. It's the free move. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there, a lot of enemies out there that start with special tiles or will make them super quick. And a free turn is nothing to scoff at because that free turn can give you free AP, set up match 4s or 5s, whatever the case is, you can really take advantage of it. So I'd say he's a good mid-tier for that purpose. He could be worse, but honestly, it's just the fact that his passive comes out nice and easy, nice and quick. And his other 2 abilities don't stifle him and don't require much to really be effective. So, anywho, that's Carnage. Keeping with the theme of hurting his team, 4-star red power code. Right. Yeah, 4-star red power hurts his team just like the black one, the 4-star one. It's funny how that works, but the 4-star one was at least admissible because if you had 10 or more red, then you don't hurt them at all. So, but hey, this Carnage is like, hey, it only costs 6. Anyways, moving on from Carnage. 5-star Dr. Doom, or should I say God Emperor Doom. God Emperor Doom comes into MPQ with a really interesting mechanic. Actually, multiple interesting mechanics. He's pretty unique if you think about it from what all of his powers do. I would say one of the starting reasons people would want to use them is Render Unto Doom. It's just a passive, but hey, it says whenever the enemy makes a black or yellow match, you steal 1 AP of that color and heal Doom for a good amount. So this is when the enemy makes a black or yellow match. You steal an AP and heal Doom. In other words, you don't have to do it. It's all based on the enemy. Now, of course, if the board is dry of black and yellow, then you're screwed. You're not getting anything out of this passive. Odds are, though, I mean, that's 2 out of the 7 colors on the board. Odds are they're going to match it a couple times for you throughout the fight. You'll probably get some AP from it and some health steal from it as well. It's not the most reliable thing because it does rely on the enemy, but it is nice to have in your back pocket. Now, beyond the extra black and yellow stealing that you're getting out of it, there's Fallen Favor. For 9 black, you do a pretty good nuke. It does drain friendly red, green, and purple by 1 as well, though, but it is a really strong nuke. Probably one of the better ones in the 5-star class. His passive isn't to be scoffed at either. If Doom is downed, all enemy strike, attack, projectiles are removed, not destroyed, removed from the board, and it fires off while Doom is stunned or airborne. So, yeah, if you down Doom, like let's say you're playing a team that relies on special tiles, don't destroy the enemy Doom first, because then he's going to remove all your tiles. And that's not fun, and that's not what you signed up for. So, Dr. Doom is one of those ones where you kind of destroy him last if you're relying on tiles, which makes it really hard to do when you're playing, when Dr. Doom is teamed with people like Phoenix or like Immortal Hulk, people that come back to life, because now you're stuck. Like, okay, I guess I gotta kill Doom, but he's gonna ruin my tiles. So it definitely puts that conundrum out there for people to deal with. Finally, there's his yellow, Brave New World. It's pretty costly at 10 by today's standards, but it is team healing. Let's put it up to 5 so you can see it. 28k healing. It is boosted, don't forget. But and then it shuffles the board, and this shuffle's a good shuffle. Unlike 4-star Quake, where her green shuffles the board, but never, and I mean never, will leave a cascade for you. It never results in a cascade. Go ahead and try it for yourself. Brave New World can. It could shuffle the board, and the tiles could fall into place. No, this isn't superstition. Yes, this has been repeatedly tested and verified. Just believe me when I say Brave New World is a lot better than Earthquake. It really is. Of course, it better be. It's a 5-star version, right? At the end of the day, I'd say Doctor Doom is a good mid-tier once again, and the mid-tier is only because he doesn't really, like, everything doesn't come into play unless certain things kick in. Stealing only happens when the enemy makes those matches, and they might not make those matches or make them often. Fallen Favor's passive only fires if he is downed. So, like, as scary as that is, it only fires off at that point, when, you know, a very negative point for you. And then Brave New World, it is just team healing after all. It's not helping you kill the enemy faster. It is protection in some ways, but at the end of the day, it's not helping you win the fight any faster, unless that shuffle really gives you a good cascade. I'd say he's just a mid-tier, but he's not low because at least he can steal passively, and his black is a really strong nuke. So, he's got those things going for him. Moving on from God Emperor Doom, going over to Hela. Oh man, was she annoying. When she first came out into the game, I guess she wasn't meta breaking or anything. She didn't really do that. But when the enemy had her, you still, to this day, kind of have to think about your green AP. And that's the biggest point of Hela, really. And let's start there with her. Death's best friend. For 8 green, deal some damage to the target, and then 2 more hits of some decent damage to random enemies. It's good damage, don't get me wrong, but it's the passive that we're looking at here. At the start of your turn, if the enemy team has at least 10 green AP, you deal damage to the target and destroy 2 enemy green AP. In other words, she punishes the enemy just for having green. And this was a big Thor counter at the time. A lot of people were abusing Thor because at half health, he was building up green AP for their friendly team to use, and Thor's green ability needs 12 to be fired. Well, looks like you're not going to get to 12 because at 10, Hela's going to smack you in the face and delete 2 of your green AP. So this became a deterrent for people using Thor consistently all the time. Hela became a really big problem in that regard. You wanted her to be so good? Yeah. I understand, John. She's fun in some cases, but I don't know. I think at the end of the day, she kind of got nerfed. I shouldn't say nerfed. That's not fair. She got overshadowed when Yelena came out. Yelena is the better Hela, if you ask me. Anyways, moving on with that. Death Becomes Her is decent. For 9 black, all blue tiles turn into pretty decent attack tiles. And then whenever you down an enemy, it's kind of like a Thanos thing. Whenever you down an enemy, you improve all the friendly strikes, attacks, and protects out there by a really good amount. So just because you downed an enemy, all of a sudden you have a much stronger set of tiles that exist out there on the board. It's a good ability. Is it worth the cost of admission? It depends how many blues you have out there. Like if you just got 1 or 2 blues out there to use, this isn't worth it. If you got, like, I don't know, at least 7 basic blues out there, that's pretty good. That's an extra 7,000 damage each turn. So, I don't know, I'd use it. Finally, there's Knives Out. Some would argue that I should put this one up higher, but I like the other one, the black, better because it has a passive built in. That passive is going to kick in as long as you kill at least 1 person, right? This one doesn't have a passive, so I might not actually use this as power in a fight. For 9 red, you create some pretty decent strike tiles. Let me put up to 5. And it replaces any enemy strike, attack, or protect tiles before the basics. So it's a good way to overwrite enemy tiles. Is it worth it for 9? I don't know. You're only making 4 tiles, but you are overwriting enemy tiles. So it really depends on the situation. If there's just a bunch of basics out there and no enemy tiles, then this isn't worth your cost, in my opinion. But if you're overwriting some tiles, then that's great. You just totally took away or neutered some of the enemy's power and replaced it with some of your own. That's awesome. At the end of the day, let me go back to this character select screen. I want to look at this in general. For this class, I'd consider her low tier. I had to look at it again and again. I mean, at the end, I kind of want to say mid tier. Maybe she's like a high-low tier. But she has good abilities. I mean, if you think about it, strikes feed with attacks. does all go together. Her green is a multi-hit. She can punish people for getting too much green AP. There's not really anything bad with her. It's just she doesn't do anything way too fast. She's not helping to get to the finish line faster. She's not doing things like Carnage does with extra turns just because tiles exist, or like Doom does with AP steal just because the enemy felt like it. Hela doesn't do these things to speed up the game without having AP on hand. So I would say she's low tier, but she's probably like a high low tier. That's just my assessment of her. Moving on from Hela, we have Iceman. Iceman is pretty darn good. Is he high tier? I don't know. Let's decide that as we talk through this, shall we? Iceman has a really interesting kit, and something that still to this day is easy to abuse with the right teammates. Now, of course, you can say that about a lot of characters, but really, Iceman's pretty unique. I'm going to start out with Y, which is this blue. Passive, 4-0, obviously. At the start of your turn, if you have at least 3 blue AP, 3 of it get drained, and you place 4 6-turn blue countdown tiles. If you destroy one of those, and that means matching as well, Iceman freezes the target, stunning them for 1 turn, or if they're already stunned, I can talk, adding 1 turn to their stun. This is awesome. That's a lot of stuns. And it's not casting a power. It's not an active ability. Black Widow can't stun you back because of it. Doctor Strange isn't going to smack you back with Flames of the Faltine because of it. This is passive stunning, all because you had 3 blue AP on hand and those blue tiles could be matched or destroyed. This is a really good ability. And not to mention, it's only if you do the matching, but let's just say you match 3 blue and one of them happens to be a countdown, if not more. Well, you just stunned the enemy and you regained 3 blue AP because you made the blue match. It feeds itself in so many ways. Just imagine, if you will, any character that destroys tiles that you could cast out of power. Oh boy, I need to think of some people here. But like, think of like Wiccan that we talked about before, where he destroys like a column of tiles, right? Anyone who destroys a whole set of tiles, like random destruction, right? That counts, and that means they're stunned. it's so much fun to abuse, and it's easily abusable when you use things like, I don't know, Thor, Mighty Thor, but we'll get to her when it's her turn. Iceman goes hand in hand with this whole shtick. Put it up to 5 so you can see the full strength. 7 green. It means you're creating 5 2-turn repeaters that each deal damage to a random enemy. But when you destroy one of them, you deal a little less damage, but it's to the whole enemy team. And remember, when you destroy one, that doesn't just mean destruction like a match 4 or something. That could mean like just a match. There's so many ways to get this done. That's team damage. That's, like instead of 7,000 to one dude, that's 18,000 to the, in total, because, obviously you're doing 6,000 per person. This is good stuff. And obviously if you make the match, you're getting 3 green for it, which is going to go right back into your Icemen. These are good abilities. And then finally, yellow, Champion Defender, is a passive that if an enemy's going to deal more than a pretty big amount of damage, and they can nowadays. I mean, you've heard of Shang-Chi, right? Or Colossus. And you have at least 2 team-up AP, which is not a lot. He protects his friends with an ice wall, which basically prevents all that damage we just talked about. A good amount of damage, right? Drains 2 friendly team-up, and then makes a 4-turn countdown that does damage to himself. You just got to get rid of that countdown. As long as you can get rid of that countdown, you basically prevented a bunch of that damage for free. Obviously, if you don't get rid of the countdown, then Iceman's going to take that hit to the face. But it could be a lot worse. You're preventing, in this case, boosted case, right? You're preventing 24k damage, and it could have been like a 30k damage hit, right? So 6,000 damage still goes through. 24k is prevented, and then if you match that tile away, it never happens. Otherwise, it does end up hitting Iceman, though. It's a pretty good ability. Even at level 3 is not bad. It takes 3 team up AP, and it takes a little higher of a damage threshold to get him to still trigger it. But still, that's not bad. Once upon a time, I had Iceman up to 5. I don't know what happened here. I must have done something different. I kind of want to do that now. I usually have that at 5 and Champion at 3. I forget why I did that. Anyways, he's a good character. Because of the way the game plays, because of passive stuns, because of passive damage, because of protection abilities, he's got really good abilities all around. I would easily call Iceman a high tier character. He's not as high as Beta Ray Bill, but even with Beta Ray Bill, let's say you put them on the same team, Beta Ray and Iceman together. Beta Ray is making blue and green for Iceman to use. Iceman has ended up using what? Really cheap amounts of blue to make stuns that don't cost actions. Small amounts of team up AP to prevent damage, and his green active ability makes a bunch of different options for team damage or singular damage. I know they're repeaters, and that kind of sucks, but hey, you can match them away and actually make more out of them. I'd say he's a high tier character for those purposes alone. He's got a lot more damage output options, stun options, and protection of his allies. That's my synopsis for Iceman. He is big friends with Half Thor, aka 5-star Thor. Okay, moving on. Professor X. Big old Chuck, the cue ball. And I love that yellow chair. Man, when they introduced him back into the game and they gave him this yellow chair look, I was so happy to see this. It's like, yes, that's Professor X. Anyways, biggest reason to use Professor X? Easily signal boost. You got to pump it up to get the damage out of it, and I would always advise this. His blue should be at 5. When you do match 4 or greater, you deal a bunch of damage extra and destroy an additional tile in that color. When it says destroy an additional tile, it actually gives you the AP for it. So you do match 4 of purple, it does the match 4, it does the extra damage, and then another random purple tile is going to get destroyed and you get the AP for it. It's a great ability. Yes, if you had Professor X and Carnage on the same team, if Carnage does his free move in the beginning and it happens to be match 4, yes, he's going to trigger signal boost from Professor X, and then you still have your regular turn waiting for you. There's a lot of goodness here. I'm going to skip down to Xavier Protocols because this is another solid reason to use him. He takes 25% less damage for each active X-Men member on his team and 10% less for each other active ally. So as long as there's other allies out there, he's going to take at least, let's say you have a full team, right? He himself is an X-Men, that's 25%. And if there's 2 other random people, we'll just say Beta Ray Bill and Carnage, right? Because we already talked about them. That's 45% less damage just because he has a full team. If there's 3 X-Men out there, so himself, Phoenix, and Colossus, all of a sudden he's taking 75% less damage. And that's match damage, power damage, attack tile damage, everything. He is a tank. Now, of course, he also has a small health pool, so it kind of balances out, but it makes you think about fighting him a different way. You almost want to kill him sooner just because you want to get rid of this tank that also has signal boost on his side. Yuck. And then finally, oh yeah, red, green, and yellow enemy powers cost 1 AP more for each active X-Men member on his team. So if you did have himself with Phoenix on there, that's enemy red, green, and yellows cost 2 more. Or Colossus and Cyclops, right? Enemy powers cost 3 more. Yes, this could be super annoying. Finally, and by the way, that was a passive, and this is a passive. Here's To Me My X-Men, his only active ability. It costs 8 purple, and then you have access to a bunch of different color options. He calls in one of his X-Men, one of his students at the school, we should say, for aid. And then add 3 basic tiles of that color to the board. So On top of the ability you're about to cast, if you select red, for example, 3 red tiles are jumping in. Or if you choose blue, 3 blue tiles are jumping in. You could totally feed another character or some cascades or get a random match 4 out of the deal or whatever. There's a lot of fun you can have with this ability if you use it right. His red calls in Wolverine, just a big nuke. And it is a good nuke. For 8 purple, it's a really good nuke. If you choose yellow, Beast comes in and gives allies a big old health boost for the team. It's okay. I wouldn't use that normally, to be quite honest. There's a lot of better things you could do with this. For 8 purple, you could also choose green, which Rogue comes in with a punch that hits the enemy team. If you choose blue, this is one of my favorite ones. You can destroy a chosen row, but it has to be a row with blue. So basically it asks you what color you want to choose, and if you choose blue, you have to choose a blue in the row you want to destroy. This could lead to cascades and stuff if you choose a blue in a row where a cascade would happen. Use just a little bit of forethought. This ability could be awesome, because now obviously you're getting the damage and then the cascade afterwards. Purple is a little bit of random, but it's really fun random. Jubilee comes in and just changes the colors of a bunch of tiles. 40 tiles is over half the board, okay? Now, this could be any set of tiles, but don't forget that 3 random basic tiles are also changing to purple because you chose purple. You could get a lot of fun cascades out of this and trigger his signal boost multiple times, but you could also get a flat bubkiss of nothing. So choose purple at your own risk. Finally, there's black. Storm comes in, and you get 5 big old basic tiles turned into giant attack tiles. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. Probably not the #1 reason I'd use Professor X's purple, but hey, if you need some attack tiles, he can make a few with Storm's help. Overall, he's easily high tier. I don't even have to think about it that much. You have big tanky ability, you have big damage passive, and then you have a really versatile purple. I mean, this purple could do nukes, it could do team nukes, it can do healing in a pinch if you really needed it, make attack tiles, destroy a row for cascade, or just change the color of a bunch of tiles for your own purposes. He's got a big kit here, and all of it's good. So he's easily high tier. No thoughts involved. But we're going to move away from the high tiers now and move to Rescue. Rescue is easily low tier. And it's sad because I'm not a big Rescue fan personally, but I like the idea behind what she does. And if they just pumped up the numbers, made it a little easier to trigger her things, she could easily be better. Remember when I said Beta Ray Bill brought in the era of projectiles? I feel like they made Rescue afterwards and said, hey, let's double down on projectile fun. This could be really great. And then, unfortunately, Rescue just fell flat. You might be wondering what we're talking about. Let's start off with the whole reason anyone would mostly use Rescue. Your shield. Look down at the passive for me. At start of her turn, if there are 2 or more friendly projectiles on the board, you heal her allies for a burst of health. Just her allies. You might think I'm saying that's the worst part of it. It's not. It's just the fact that she doesn't heal herself, so obviously she can't take care of herself like she does her allies, and thus she will always become the target when you play this in PvP and end up going on defense. She's not going to last long. But this ability can be pretty fun when you combine it with other thoughts, other characters, other things that can happen on the board. You convert all friendly strike and attack tiles into projectiles. Remember how Carnage makes attack tiles out of like anything you match? Yeah, you could turn all those into projectiles. Remember how Beta Ray makes blue and green AP out of friendly protects that are matched or destroyed? Yeah, I used this team in the PvP recently. Rescue, Beta Ray Bill, and Carnage, and that was a lot of fun. Again, she's not great. It's just, it was an idea I had, and it did work. But it's convoluted. It's kind of cumbersome, if you will. If there are, oh yeah, it also improves the friendly projectiles by a giant amount too. If there is no friendly strike attack projectiles on the board, you create 3 decent projectiles instead. Her red is meh. It's 6 red, so it's cheap, and you do 2 okay damage blasts. And if there are 2 or more friendly strike attack protects on the board, you do an additional hit that does a little less damage, but it is an additional hit. It's 6 red, and that's probably the best part about it, is that it's cheap, and you'll get 2, maybe 3 hits out of it. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can say about it. It's not a great ability. It's lackluster at best, but at least it's cheap. All Systems Go is 9 blue, and this is a fun ability if used in the right situation. You deal some damage, steal 3 enemy strike attack projectiles, and if there are non-red, so in other words, blue, green, yellow, purple, black, non-red enemy strike attack projectiles on the board after it's fired, those get converted to red. That may sound like a what's the big deal? That can be super fun, because all of a sudden you have a bunch more red tiles on the board, and that could make cascades. This could easily make cascades, because all the non-red strike attacks protects are changed to red tiles. That's Cascade City, which fuels her do or die, or maybe, I don't know, just think weirdly with me here, someone else who likes red. Anyways, her abilities do fuel each other, except for do or die. I mean, everything kind of fuels that potentially. Anyways, her yellow and blue fuel each other. They can go towards her red. Her red is cheap. It's not like she has a lot of negative to talk about. It's just she's all based on protection and healing. There's nothing that's really helping you kill the enemy faster, and that's why she's easily low tier. She's not helping you win the game faster. She's easily a protection and healing character, pure and simple, despite what you might have saw with her red. There's so many other reds out there that do the job better, so yeah, we'll leave it at that. Sorry, Rescue. Finally, let's move on to the last 5-star of this year, or 2019 if you're confused like I am. 5-star Storm. Storm did something interesting for 5 stars when she came into MPQ, and that was she introduced the idea of someone making charge tiles and, I don't know, not hurting themselves like Black Bolt does. Now, of course, it comes with a stipulation. Gathering Clouds says you at start a turn you convert 1 black basic tile into a black charge tile. What is the stipulation? It has to be black. She just makes black charge tiles. That's the stipulation. That's it. Black Bolt makes 2 charge tiles a turn, but after 4 he stops. He does this damage thing, right? Well, Storm doesn't stop. She keeps making charge tiles, and that's super fun if you're using other charge tile characters. Like Negasonic, Throg, Gator Loki. Obviously Black Bolt could make use of it. Anyone who likes charge tiles, this could be super fun. 4-star Captain America with the worthy cap thing. There's ways to abuse this, and obviously she herself gets good use out of it because her black is not that bad. Her black active says she destroys all charge tiles on the board, dealing a pretty good amount of damage to the enemy team for each destroyed tile. Those destroyed tiles do not deal damage themselves or generate AP, but you get a really good max amount of damage done with those to the enemy team. The only sucky thing about this power is that you've just destroyed all the charge tiles on the board. So she kind of has to start over at 0. So use it at your own discretion. Make sure you're either killing the enemy team off or you're set with other powers ready to roll afterwards. Other powers like Ice Storm. For 10 green, it's a little pricey, but you choose a color tile and you destroy all tiles of that color. I could also remove this down to level 3 and you only destroy so many. But why would you do that? Destroying all tiles of one color is amazing. If your team isn't using purple, then why keep purple around? Just an example, right? There's so many ways you can abuse this ability. Yes, this will destroy your charge tiles, unfortunately, that she might be using. But, I mean, if you're not going to use the AP, why leave them around, right? So this could be a really fun ability to abuse. And so is her Aurora Totalis, if I'm saying it right. For 9 yellow, you choose a colored tile. So like, I don't know, just choose like red or blue or green or yellow, you get the point. And then 6 of those team up tiles that are out there turn into basic tiles of that color. Then you convert 3 basic tiles of that color into charge tiles. So maybe you want some green because you want to fire off her ice storm, right? You select a green tile. All of a sudden, team up tiles become green. That could make cascades for you. If some basic tiles were charge tiles, guess who just got their green up even faster? She is really helpful at generating AP with this yellow. Of course, you just got to get the yellow to feed it. At the end of the day, she's not a bad character at all. She's not high tier. I'd say she's mid tier because she does fuel your team in many ways. Having charge tiles out there, one extra one per turn, is something that not a lot of characters in this game can do. Ice Storm being able to trim the fat from the board that you don't want, or that maybe the enemy's really relying on red, right? You could just say, nah, I don't want red, poof, and you just neutered the enemy's AP sources, right? Or that yellow, you could do the same thing there. Maybe, basically she can help you twist the board in your team's favor while doing damage, while supplying you with AP, while feeding charge tile team mechanics if you're using that. She's got a good set. It's a little pricey, but at the end of the day, it's really good when you put it together. I'd say it's mid-tier. It's not high tier because it is a little pricey and it requires a little bit of thought to roll with. Anyways, any questions? Maybe you want to oppose me on a couple of these points. Maybe you want to bring up something that I forgot. Feel free to drop me a comment. Any thoughts you have on here on Twitch or on YouTube when I have this posted up there. I really don't mind discussing these points because, hey, I've played this game long enough. I do like the discussion points of it. I'm sorry, I missed a couple things in here. What was that, Mark? 5-star Professor X with Onslaught. Oh yeah, that's a given. When Onslaught came out, Professor X and Onslaught were peanut butter and jelly. It's really super fun because Onslaught's obviously triggered easily because of a match 4, and then that makes you have all the team up tiles are gone, which makes more match 4 craziness for Professor X to do his blue shtick with. It's super fun. Anywho, that's the 5 stars of 2019. Let's move forward to the Crash of the Titans for the night or this last week.